Black Dog, Led Zeppelin. And special guest today, we have an actual black dog. This is Melody. Say hi. Say hi. All right, let's get right to it.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you way you shake that thing gonna make you burn, gonna make you stay. Hey, baby, when you walk that way, watch your honey drip, can't keep
Get right to it. So, certainly John Paul Jones' most iconic bass riff that he contributed to Led Zeppelin, and it really one of the most famous riffs of all time. That's unison guitar and bass. Just an all-time classic. So we'll take a look at his bass part today, which is what the tune was composed on, and it's got some very interesting chromatic passing tones in them, and a little bit of variations on the two bridge sections that you have to really listen closely to get what he's doing. But let's start with the main riff. This whole thing is really centered around an A pentatonic, minor pentatonic sort of tonality. Blues scale. And you listen to Robert Plant's vocal melody, it's directly from the A blues scale as well. And of course, all the hits on the power chord at the end of the phrase is the A, right? Well, let's see how we get there. Okay, right off the bat, there's a chromatic passing tone from G to G sharp to A, all right? So that's not part of the blues scale. There's that minor third, the C, right? Okay, so one of the things I get from that is that, when you're playing stuff that's based around the blues scale, don't only use those notes. Use that note too. Use that chromatic passing tone from the seventh to the octave. Just the addition of that one note, one extra note, I think gives it a bigger sound and a slightly different sound than that typical thing that we're used to hearing. Hammering on from D to E, the fifth, right? And now emphasizing the minor third again. Now that ending phrase there, I love the rhythm of it. To have that repeated G, that repeated A note there from the G, it's just a great all-around use of not only scale tones, and that chromatic passing tone, but just rhythmically. Think about it. We're starting with just single. I mean, you can think of these as either 16ths or 8th notes, depends on how you would write it out. But I understand why he'd hold that C a little longer. Like I said, it's the minor third of A, right? Going up to the 5th. And now that's a cool bit right there, to do the hammer-on pull-off, C to D. And the phrase could have ended right there. It could have just been... But to cap it, you could have made a whole second tune out of just that end part, right? Okay, so that's the main riff. And then this is, in my opinion, the most brilliant part of the tune is when they go to the secondary riff. So they drop it down a fourth, right? So you were basically on an A pentatonic, tonality. Now we're emphasizing E, so down a fourth. And it's basically a similar riff, right? Right, because it starts the same way. It could have been that, just in E. But once again, Led Zeppelin's mastery of playing 3/4, right? That part just feels like it's rolling over onto itself and it's about to fall off the tracks, But Bonham just keeps it with that steady 4, and it's not going anywhere. That's the key to the whole tune in a way, is that just a couple of extra notes there. And just seamlessly pulling it in to the first riff again. I mean, so let's see what we got. We got the B, D, D sharp, E, right? And then to go back, circle back to just D, E. You'd think it might have been... Nope. Right? And so... And then ending it that way. Which then seamlessly takes us into what I call the first bridge, which is just space now. And at that point, it's all about the drums. Bonham goes into that sort of pseudo kind of Latin groove thing. Whereas before, during the riff, he had been holding it down super simple with just a 4/4 groove, right? So you see, it's that give and take. Sometimes you be busy, everyone else just kind of lays it down, and then it's your turn to lay it down, let them be busy. That's the balance there, right? Okay, and then we go back to the main riff again a few times, and then we'll get to what I call the second bridge, which is this thing, which simplified would be this. And that's a pretty basic kind of rock riff. That's some kind of form of that is in a lot of tunes, especially in that key, with the A, G, and D thing. But if you listen really closely, he does some interesting things, as he would always do with his bass parts. So instead of just going A, G, he goes A, G, F sharp. He kind of slides down into the F sharp there. Let's check it out. Right. So it's just that little extra thing. Because the guitar, okay, so on the guitar, he's playing like an A power chord, bending the G. So it'd be like, and that's all you get. So he's doing that. He's getting the, but then there's a little, and I'm not sure if it's a slide or a pull off. It could be this. Pull off, Whatever it is, that F sharp note is there. And if here's a good thing, it's good that we have live recordings to reference this stuff with. Zeppelin played this tune, throughout their careers once it was released. And as Zeppelin would do on a lot of tunes, over the years they'd change the arrangements around. And in a lot of ways, they were like a jazz band where they would improvise in the course of the performance and just go for stuff. And sometimes that stuff was worked out beforehand, and sometimes it's pretty clear that they're in the spur of the moment, just going for it and taking chances, trying new things. And so within the context of this section, it changed over the years. He didn't always play what was on the original recording, but early on he did. And there's they put a record out in the 1990s. It's called the BBC Sessions. And it's a compilation of when Led Zeppelin was on the BBC radio, giving concerts. And there's one performance of Black Dog on it from that time period in 1971 when the fourth album just came out. And so he's playing the line pretty faithfully to what the original was. And because of the mix, of the live mix, the bass is way more up front because there's only one guitar playing. Whereas on the studio recording, as he would do, Jimmy Page would layer, all kinds of things, which sometimes makes it difficult to hear what's going on in the bass parts. Also, the drums would always be mixed really high, and you get that fat bass drum on the bottom there, which would also sometimes obscure some of the more less pronounced notes, like that F sharp. And then just that extra F sharp just gives it a little bit extra thing. Now let's look at that, right? On its own, that's right. Zeppelin mined those three notes, A, D, and E, for a lot of tunes, right? And seemingly, they did again there, but not. And here's where their musical slickness comes in. What Page plays on the guitar is a G power chord. It's a full G, but it's got no third in it, so it's just the notes G and D, right? But against that, John Paul Jones plays an E. So if you get the notes E, G, and D together, that's really an E minor 7 chord. It's not an E power chord. It actually spells out harmony that way, just by changing the bass note. He could have went, which would be way more obvious. But that's the slick part, and that's the thing that's like you see like there's wit in that, and there's like this sort of sly, subtle. I'm gonna put something in there for you guys to figure out years from now, you know. So, and then it's just, and then a D power chord. Okay, and we're right back. And that's basically the tune. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this to come. Thanks for watching.